Vincent Pastore, the veteran actor whose performance as Salvatore Big Pussy Bonpensiero became one of the defining early storylines of The Sopranos, has died at the age of 80. His representatives confirmed the news after Pastore was found at his home on City Island in the Bronx on Saturday, August 1st. But as tributes began arriving from the people who worked beside him, one important part of the story remained unresolved. No official cause of death had been publicly announced. That distinction matters because some early reports moved faster than the confirmed public record. The responsible update is that Pastore's death is confirmed. He was found after friends and associates had been unable to reach him for several days, and the circumstances were still being examined in the reporting available Saturday evening. Anything more specific about how he died would go beyond what his representatives or authorities had publicly established. For verified entertainment updates without the rumors, subscribe to Startline Entertainment. Pastore's manager Bob McGowan told the Associated Press that he learned of the actor's death from Vincent Curatola, another performer associated with The Sopranos. McGowan said Pastore had been found at his City Island home after no one had heard from him for several days. The manager had reportedly been attempting to contact him about possible work, a detail that makes clear that Pastore was still connected to the profession that had defined the second half of his life. McGowan's remembrance focused less on the television character and more on Pastore's conduct away from the screen. He described him as loyal, charitable, and willing to help others. Another longtime representative similarly remembered an actor who made time for fans, treated people warmly, and encouraged younger performers. Those accounts immediately created a contrast with the hard-edged roles Pastore was usually asked to play. That contrast is central to understanding why the reaction has been so personal. For millions of viewers, Pastore will always be connected to Salvatore Bonpensiero, a longtime associate and friend of Tony Soprano, who was secretly cooperating with federal investigators. The character's divided loyalties powered one of the show's earliest major arcs, turning a familiar member of Tony's circle into the source of growing suspicion and, eventually, an irreversible betrayal. Pastore appeared regularly during the first 2 seasons and returned in later guest appearances. The role was intimidating, funny, and ultimately tragic, but Pastore did not play Bonpensiero as a simple villain. His performance helped viewers see a man trapped between fear, friendship, and self-preservation. That complexity is one reason the character continued to be remembered long after his principal storyline ended. It also helped establish the emotional stakes that made The Sopranos different from a conventional crime series. Violence and betrayal were rarely separated from history, loyalty and family-like bonds. But Pastore's career did not begin with HBO, and acting was not even his first professional life. He was born in the Bronx in 1946 and grew up in New Rochelle, New York. He served in the United States Navy during the Vietnam era, later studied at Pace University, and spent years working in clubs and bars before developing his screen career. Entertainment Weekly reported that his first film appearance came in the 1988 horror movie Black Roses. From there, he began accumulating the kind of smaller roles that made his face recognizable before many viewers knew his name. In 1990, he appeared in Goodfellas and Awakenings. Additional credits followed in films including Carlito's Way, Manhattan Murder Mystery, The Basketball Diaries, The Jerky Boys Movie, Mickey Blue Eyes, and The Hurricane. Television work included repeated appearances within the Law & Order franchise and later roles on programs such as The Practice, Blue Bloods, Hawaii 5-0, and Bull. One project became especially important to the direction of his career. Pastore played Angelo Ruggiero in HBO's 1996 film Gotti. He later explained publicly that the project helped connect several familiar New York character actors with the casting process for The Sopranos. When the HBO drama arrived in 1999, Pastore brought with him years of experience playing figures from the same cinematic world, but Bonpensiero gave him more emotional material and far greater visibility. The show's success also brought ensemble recognition. The Screen Actors Guild's nominee history records Pastore as part of the Sopranos cast that received the 2000 award for Outstanding Performance by an Ensemble in a Drama Series. He was also included in the ensemble's nominations for both 2000 and 2001. The award matters because Pastore's contribution was inseparable from the chemistry of the group surrounding James Gandolfini's Tony Soprano. Then came the first major public tribute from inside that ensemble. Michael Imperioli remembered Pastore as a longtime friend and collaborator. recalling the work they completed together and the trips they shared across the United States, Italy, and Australia. Imperioli's message described him as a kind-hearted person who cared deeply for his family and friends. It was a tribute built not around a single famous scene, but around decades of shared experiences. That response also reminds viewers that Pastore's connection to the Sopranos community continued long after the series ended. Cast members reunited for anniversary events, interviews, and live appearances, and Pastore remained publicly associated with the series that changed his career. The Television Academy included him among the cast members who participated in a 2013 discussion celebrating the show and examining its enduring influence. His work also extended far beyond live-action crime stories. Pastore supplied the voice of Luca in the animated movie Shark Tale, appeared in reality programs including Dancing with the Stars, The Celebrity Apprentice, and Celebrity Family Feud, hosted The Wise Guy Show on Sirius, and later moved into podcasting. Entertainment Weekly reported that one of his most recent screen credits was a voice performance in a 2025 episode of Yellow Jackets. That late credit is significant because it prevents the story from being reduced to a single role from the beginning of the century. Bonpensiero was unquestionably the performance that made Pastore a household face, but his overall career stretched across roughly 4 decades and included film, broadcast television, premium cable, animation, theater, radio, reality programming, and live appearances. His longevity came partly from a recognizable screen presence and partly from his willingness to keep working in many different formats. There is also an important caution in the way this story should be covered. The fact that Pastore was found at home after several days without contact is part of the confirmed timeline, but it should not become an invitation to guess about private medical circumstances. People reported that the New York Police Department declined to comment when contacted, while Entertainment Weekly said authorities were still investigating the circumstances. Until a family member, representative, or official authority provides additional information, no specific cause should be treated as established. What is established is the response from the people who represented and worked with him. Their descriptions repeatedly return to generosity, loyalty, humor, respect for fans, and encouragement of younger actors. Those qualities carry particular weight because they reveal the distance between the intimidating persona audiences saw and the individual colleagues say they knew. The timing also makes this a story about the long afterlife of The Sopranos. More than 2 decades after Pastore's central storyline concluded, the character remains immediately recognizable, and the actor continued to participate in the wider culture surrounding the series. His death is therefore being felt on 2 levels, as the loss of a working performer with a broad resume, and as another loss within an ensemble that permanently changed prestige television. The Startline takeaway is that the clearest story is not an unconfirmed theory about how Vincent Pastore died. It is the contrast now emerging between his public screen image and the private reputation described by those around him. He became famous playing men associated with intimidation and organized crime, yet the first confirmed remembrances describe someone charitable, approachable, and unusually supportive of other people. What changed on August 1st was the confirmation that Pastore had died at 80. What remains unclear is the official cause and whether his family or authorities will release additional information. Viewers should not mistake an active investigation or a lack of public detail for evidence of something suspicious. At this stage, it means only that the public record is incomplete. The verified summary is this: Vincent Pastore was found at his City Island home in the Bronx after several days without contact. His representatives confirmed his death. He is survived by his daughter Renee. His colleagues have begun honoring him as a loyal friend, a generous mentor, and a performer who valued the people who supported him. And while one factual part of the story may still be updated, the legacy taking shape is already clear. The man behind one of The Sopranos' toughest characters was remembered first for his kindness.